Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Friday right here on twitch.tv/DC Lasair. And you can also find on youtube.com/DC Lasair. Today is Tech Friday, the final one of 2023. Yay! And with me
No, it's the
today
final
is...
one ever. It's the
Yeah.
final one ever. After that countdown, never again.
And with me today is the fantastic Urban Bohemian. Herb, tell everyone about yourself.
I'm going to wait for them to stop because that was awesome. Hi, I'm Urban Bohemian. I am a tabletop and video game content creator and streamer, actual player, blogger, writer, foodie, all this other fun stuff, and lover of brunch.
All right. Yay! I did things today, so I'm very pleased with myself, so I will be giggling a lot. Uh, just to let y'all know. All right. So I asked Herb to be on today to go over our favorite tech things of 2023 that happened related to streaming, more or less. And I would love to hear about yours in chat. So while we're talking, please feel free to throw in the things you liked about technology that occurred in 2023. And let's get into it, shall we?
Sure.
All right. So first up is this is gonna be all you. We have
Oh, no. Okay.
streaming streaming OBS on Mac OS and how easy it is to connect your iPhone as a second camera.
This is sort of a late 2023 entry for me. With my work had redemption award points that they give you or whatever, and I had a work anniversary. So they said, okay, hey, here's points to use. So I ended up using it to buy a MacBook, which was going to be my travel machine mostly, so I could write on it. But I was looking up specifically the new MacBook Airs, how they do for streaming. And apparently their onboard M2 chip is great for that. And I set it up in my kitchen. I was going to do a very quick, whatever kind of stream, and I was able to connect my other USB-C cameras through a hub to it. And the phone, the Mac kept asking me, "Do you want to just use this nearby phone as a camera?" And I thought no, because I need my phone. And then I thought, wait. I started testing all the different. I had 4 windows up in OBS. You could test all of your cameras, and the phone looked the best, and it just flawlessly connected. I'm not sure if it's using Bluetooth or it was the hardwire connection to the Mac, but that's what I'm going to end up using now. So if you do use your Mac and you're considering using it for a travel machine and it's got the most recent OS update, you will be able to use your Apple devices, probably including phones you don't use anymore. Like if you just have one that you use for just a standard iPad or whatever, you'd be able to connect those. And some of those, the phones do have better camera quality and more responsiveness with the Mac than I found. Sorry, Logitech. Than I found my stream cams. The quality was better. The ability to focus on the fly was a little bit better. So I'm going to be using those when I stream from my Mac, which was also seamless. I found OBS just was like great here. It was over Wi-Fi and yet kind of looked better than my stream setup on my Windows machine, which I'm a little bit mad about, but okay, we'll take it as it comes. So if you're looking for an option and you have or you're going to get one of the newer MacBooks, just to know it can stream very well over Wi-Fi, and it was a very quick setup. Also, it helped that I didn't have any scenes or setups in OBS, so it was like a fresh OBS install. But I found that very helpful, and it'll be nice for kitchen streams because I don't have to now tear down all of this and move it over into the other room. I'm able to now stream from that computer in a different room, or on the go. So that was a late. I think I did. That was pretty much like a November, December thing that I finally set it up. Um, but going into the next year, I'm going to really lean heavily into using that for a more flexible setup for streaming.
Excellent. All right. And like you were saying, you the iPhone camera just kind of worked out of the box with the...
It did. I know that for other like for Android OS or for Windows, you definitely have to have something in the middle that says, "Hey, let me see your camera." Some of those are free, some of those are paid. but Apple really, it's part of their whole thing. They want you to be on a Mac ecosystem. So they just said, okay, all these things work flawlessly with each other, and that's that.
All right. All right. Excited for brunch streams with Herb. I am too. Yay. And hello, everyone
I,
in chat.
hello, everybody.
Glad you're all here. All right. Next thing on the list we have is the Rodecaster Duo, which I recently
This one's
got.
all you.
This is all me. All right.
It says duo
So,
in the name, but actually, this will be a single spot with DC doing all the talking, so to speak.
so thanks to very generous community, I have a Rodecaster Duo. It's what you're hearing Herb through and myself through right now. And yes, there's a list. I gotta change that command because I already have the Rodecaster Duo. So if you can support anything else, that'd be great. Way to go, me. Anyway, so the Rodecaster Duo, Rode decided to really step up their game in the streaming space. Like they already had the Rodecaster Pro, and that was impressive. But then they did the Rodecaster Duo and the wireless microphones, which I can't remember what they called. Oh, I gotta change hats. Well, we'll have to do that in a minute.
I was going to say, finish the thought. Do not get this is what I'm here for today. It's to keep you on point.
Just keep. So, the Rodecaster Duo, it more easily fits on my desk. It replaced what I was using, the Stream Deck Plus and the Elgato Wavelink software. And I had to rethink how I did audio a bit, but it's fantastic because you can set up different profiles. So say you're somebody like me that happens to do multiple shows. And like, so if I had this when I was doing Rivals, I would have had a profile for my stream and a profile for Rivals. And I wouldn't have to do any other work other than that initial setup and just click over to the new profile and I'd be all set to go. No problem. Plus, you can record in the hardware itself. And so you're not taking up your PC's processing power. You're not, or any other resources. It's all done internally. And after everything's done, you can go to whoever or have a podcast ready audio for editing and go, here you go. Here's some audio, client. All for you. You get 4 channels that with I have more than 4 channels, but you have 4 volume sliders and 4 inputs you can set to whatever you want. And when we get to software, we'll talk about audio inputs and all that. And you have these pads where I have sound effects like air horns and the sad trombone and everything. And you can program these to be any sound you want. It's kitty time, apparently.
See, that was not a sound on the thing. Yeah, okay.
That was my actual cat. So it's really great for multiple shows or multiple channels, because you can preset those up. You don't have to mess with it in OBS. And then one thing. Oh, yes. Hi. That was very loud. Holy cow. Yes, hello. I am paying attention to you, kitty. Sorry, there has to be kitties for me. Let me switch shots here. So, so you can just switch between your shows. Cat says no stream, only pets, right? I mean, surprise co-host, exactly.
It's not really a surprise. For some, a lot more than usual, DC's cat has decided to become a guest star on the stream, and this is not the start of you having this cat. It took a while to get to this point, and now your cat is the most attention-hungry feline when you are streaming ever, and it's a delight.
Oh, she's done with me. Has wandered off.
Okay, there it is. All right. It's interesting talk when you're talking about the benefits of the Rodecaster Duo because it reminds me. I couldn't find it in your YouTube channel quickly, but I'm also live with you. When you talked about when we did the Rivals finale, and you talked about like the mixer they had, and again, like that ease and simplicity of being able to do all of that in the hardware and not rely on any other resources that you may or may not have. So it was nice.
Yeah, it's great. I say the one thing that trip and I see that, Lonzo. That's amazing. Uh, the one thing that really tripped me up was that because each channel can be an input and an output, that's just okay, mind blowing. And so when you set up an OBS and you can have it be an audio input or an audio output, right? It- And so, and I was used to having things as an audio output, but if I want to control them with the sliders, it had to all be audio inputs that I selected each channel
Right.
for and not select the channel as an audio output. Otherwise, I wouldn't get volume control. And it's just such a different way of thinking of audio. And it's it's pretty delightful once it gets going. Another thing I really like about it is that I can mute a channel attached to one of the four sliders, and it'll be muted to you. But I can press another button, and I can still hear it in my headphones, even though the
Okay.
audience can't. So I can still hear what's going on if I need to step in or anything like that, and or unmute because whatever reason, I can do that. And that is super handy. Um, just being able to go, okay, like, so use case, you're on, you have a guest in Discord, and maybe they're also streaming, and they're talking to their
Yep.
channel, and you want to talk to your channel. You can mute them and still hear what they're saying, so you know when they're done talking to their channel, and then you can unmute them and talk to everybody again, or you need to cut out their volume for a moment, and they'll still be able to hear you talk as well because Discord. But
Right.
yeah.
That's good. No, that's really it's a good thing I think to be able to separate that out. I also, I like it from the aspect of I guess I also think about from the producer side, like if you're on with people, you're able to bring in audio that doesn't go out as well because it's an input and an output. So we'd be able to hear something from you that might not go out to the actual recording or the stream. So I love that about it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. So if I just want to you know send the air horn to Herb's audio channel and not out to you, I totally could. But I'm not gonna bother setting that up right now, and you just all get the air horn. uh,
So if you want to terrify one specific player in your actual play, set up specific channels for each of them and then just send it in. There it is. Okay.
there it is. Yep.
Rude.
But yeah, so that's that. And otherwise, I think we can move on to the next thing.
Oh,
Actually, the next couple are kind of you, or the Logitech Blue Sona XLR microphone.
I'm actually going to combine this. It's going to sort of be a twofer because I've got the Logitech Blue Sona XLR, but I also ended up getting the Elgato Wave XLR. And happily, they both live in the same place and they're just fine. But I had been using USB microphones for a while because the last time I had an XLR mic, I had a mixer that wasn't really set for being connected to a computer. So I had to get an entirely separate audio out to the computer in. And essentially, having one cable to another cable to another cable was the problem. Like the breakdown came in too many cables. I would always end up getting a weird humming sound and buzzing noise. And I just gave up on the XLR mics. Like I understood that they were better. I or at least they sounded better to me and they gave better quality. but it was too much fuss. And I just wanted one cable that went into one USB hub. And then Logitech made it possible for some of their creators to get the Blue Sona XLR. And I thought, okay, this is fine. I just need a simple XLR mixer. And I've seen the bigger mixers, and some of them are, like DC has the Rodecaster Duo. That might be something I could actually handle technically. But at the time, before the Duo was out, a lot of the mixers were, you kind of needed to be a little bit of an audio engineer to be able to kind of figure them out and figure out how they would easily, note the word easily, fit into your streaming setup, because all of us are not audio engineers. But the Wave XLR, it's a mini mixer, and it really, I don't know, I mean, it's definitely a mixer because when you pair it up with the Wavelength software, it is, but it's also just a really simple XLR pass through to go to USB for your machine, and it works well. I've gotten used to the Wavelength software, which is amazing. It comes like Wavelength software comes with all of Elgato's audio stuff. And yeah, I've been able to tweak things a lot better. I've been able to control the gain a lot better. I've been able to, I am still hesitant to hop into VSTs because that is a rabbit hole. Once you've started, you cannot stop. And at some point, you kind of forget what your own voice sounds like because you're then like carving down and shaving down your audio so much, and then you're just like, wait, do I even sound like that anymore? So VSTs are a little scary for me, but I do love the combination of them. So if you have an XLR microphone, or you know somebody who has one and is like, hey, I don't need this anymore, would you like to use this on stream? And you do not want to get an entire mixing board for just this one thing, I would look for the mini mixers. The Wave XLR is one of them. There are others. I've actually now started to see very small XLR to USB pass throughs. So you may not be able to configure a whole lot in between, but your microphone will connect. It will be appropriately powered. And that's the main thing is when I've seen those tiny pass throughs, the tiny pass throughs still have to plug into something else because you need the phantom power pulling through your microphone. And otherwise though, I like it. I've listened to streams before and after it, and there is a noticeable difference with what I'm able to do, how I'm able to sound. When I've done recordings with my USB microphone versus the XLR, they are better. It's still my voice at the end of it without any processing, so like that's not going to change. But the way that you're able to capture the sound is a little better. So I like it. I will say it's not for everybody. This is definitely not a I've just decided to start streaming this year kind of purchase. But if you are looking for somewhere where you might want to level up your software, level up your setup. Maybe you're going to be doing podcasting, maybe you're going to be doing actual plays, or people on stream have said, hey, you have a really nice voice. Then an XLR microphone might be a good thing, and then a mixer or a mini mixer in your future. But I have loved it this year. It's probably, I mean, obviously, it's the thing I use the most because every time I'm on anything, I'm using the microphone. And it's the kind of thing where if I use it for work meetings, people are like, "What are you calling from? How are you sound like you're right in my room." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, right?" When you basically get called out for being a streamer because you're like, "Your setup is you sound and look so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't that's funny. I don't know what that's about." Yeah, I don't yeah.
Yeah. When I was taking uh, uh, ASL 101, I I was in Zoom meetings, and I'm looking at my camera compared to others. I'm like, oh right, not everyone streams stuff. So
Uh-huh. Yep.
yep.
Oh yeah, it is definitely it's the Elgato Wave XLR I was looking for. Hold on. Oh, that's the setup. See, Elgato's like for some reason they are not easily Googled, so that's fine. Um, so yeah, it's the Elgato Wave XLR. And it was funny because when I bought it, the person at Best Buy said, "Oh, are you a streamer?" They just knew. They were like, "Only one person is coming in here buying these things." Um, but yeah, I definitely anytime I use my setup now, like even just to talk to my doctor for telehealth, like, they get the, "Oh, wow, you look really good." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, like, don't worry about what kind of setup I have at home. You're clearly on that weird, like, webcam microphone that they give you on your Dell
Mhm.
laptop at the hospital. It's fine." Um, but yeah, the Elgato Wave XLR, which I don't know if it's gone down, or not lately. They've been doing a whole lot of, um they've been doing a whole lot of new stuff coming out, so I'm not sure if they're basically bringing anything down or not, but, I like it. I'm trying to find hold on, where is it on their website? Sorry, their site. Anyway, but that is yeah, those 2 things in concert have been, like, amazing for me, so I'm very happy about that. And they don't advertise it often, which is interesting. I think in a like, between their other, there we go. Um, between their other stuff, they don't really mention the XLR as much because they just kind of assume that you're getting that. But yeah, um, I could go on and on about the microphone and the XLR. I could go on about how much Wavelength software is great, but also awful. I could talk about if you don't plug it in right, it will suddenly you'll have a second mixer that you didn't know you had until you plug it out, until you remove the plug and plug it back in. So, it's still a piece of hardware and Windows is still Windows. So it's still gonna
Mhm.
mess
Right.
up.
Now,
But yeah.
and going back to you were talking about mics and things. That remind me about another thing about the Rodecaster Duo and the other Rodecaster products because that's one thing. The big Rodecaster and the Rodecaster Duo, exact same software. There, y-
Yeah.
there's no difference between the two, which is a brilliant move. But this is a Shure SM7B, which I got from a friend used. So I did not get this at full price. Uh, so but it goes right into the Duo, and a lot of times you'll see that this mic needs a preamp, and people will recommend something called CloudLink. Well, if you have a Rodecaster Duo, you don't need that. Rodecaster Duo takes care of that for you with this mic. And in fact, it will make your sound worse if you do preamp it between here and the Rodecaster Duo. And so that
Did your
that was
did your
just another
friends did
nice
your friends start
benefit.
a podcast? Did they start a podcast and not finish it? Is that what happened?
Probably.
The scourge of the pandemic is podcasts, let me
Yes.
tell you. But if you are starting a podcast and you want a nice mic beyond the usual USB stuff, YouTube is going to be your best friend in terms of, I got this mic. What do I need to pair it with so it will work? There are people who do
Mhm.
hardware demos. They tell you, here's what it sounds like with the setting on. Here's what it sounds like with the setting off. And they'll almost like you need the IKEA diagram of microphone plus what to computer. They'll tell you what that is.
Yeah, and, as Herb was mentioning, the Elgato Wavelength software is excellent. It's what I was using for a very long time. I still have access to it, so if I wanted even more audio channels, I could, you know, put in the Wave XLR feed. They just wouldn't record to the Rodecaster if I made a recording with them, but they would go out to all of you. So,
Yeah. Speaking of having a lot of audio channels, we're going to get to that a little later on.
yeah, I think we should bridge right into it. I know we were going to do another topic first, but I think since we're
Oh,
on audio, we might as well talk about Mixline.
absolutely.
So Mixline is probably one of my favorite bits of software to come out. It's a Logitech product. You can sign up for the beta, and they should send you a code right away, is my understanding. I don't think they're really limited it too much, but you give them an email, and you get the software, and it has changed the way I route everything. I use that. I use it for every single thing. The Rodecaster Duo, all all of the Rodecaster Duo channels come out as inputs in the Mixline software, so I can just take, uh, Spotify, and I can go, okay, I do need Spotify to go to just my headphones sometimes because I'm not. always going to have my Duo on or whatever. And then I also need it to go to a Rodecaster Duo channel, and I pause the headphone one so I don't, hear it twice or whatever twice, and just let it go through the Rodecaster Duo. Um, and it's the easiest way to route audio that I found.
It's I you know, I've not used it yet, and the one thing I discovered is that Mixline is not yet available for Mac, so I'm sure it will be at some point. But the fact that it's if routing audio is confusing to you, the interface for Mixline hopefully will help you. It helps kind of put things in perspective because you're really just dragging, hey, I want this to go here. And you're dragging across the screen, you're mix and you're combining. And that to me is like the thing that's going to have this beating out the wavelength or similar is that it's just a much more the user experience is a little more intuitive if you just think visually versus like again like an audio engineer.
And yeah, and so if you decide to use Mixline, don't mess with your Windows audio settings. Just keep them all at default and let Mixline do all the work. Now that means you have to set Mixline to power up every time too, otherwise your audio isn't going to happen for you like you think it will. But you can set it to start on startup, and it doesn't take a lot of CPU power, so it's really lightweight and very handy. And if you're doing multiple audio, like I have, right now you are hearing Herb through uh we're using Twitch. I want to say the right thing because it's not guest star anymore. It's
Stream together.
streamed together. So Herbs and stream together. And so that's in Chrome. I have my Chrome in Mixline. I just connect a little line from Chrome over to a channel. I have it Rodecaster Duo chat, and that's how you're hearing Herb. And now I have the audio routed, and I can control it using the Rodecaster Duo. You can do it the same with the Elgato Wavelink. You can do the same thing because those channels will pop up as outputs as well. And does it play nicely with voice mod? I haven't used voice mod in a while, but yes, I would imagine so because voice mod is a piece of software, so it'll pop up, and you should just be able to drag it to whatever channel you want it to go to.
Right. I mean, talking about this, we kind of covered a little bit, but when you even the Rodecaster Duo, when you connect it to the machine, it also has its own, it basically puts its audio channels in. Um, Honestly, if you start doing all this and you then click the speaker selector on your Windows machine, you're going to have to scroll through to find the one you want because at this point, they have all added their own audio channels to Windows for you. But yeah, voice mod because when voice mod, it's another virtual piece of it's a virtual kind of mixer on its own, and it causes its own mic channel. So yeah, you can definitely fold that in if that's what you're going to use. I know the effects that you use now; those are actually on the Rodecaster Duo, correct?
Yeah, the sound effects, and plus I have the ones that from Elgato that you can plug into the Stream
Oh
Deck.
right. Um, I we should probably if you, yeah, we didn't you haven't done a thing that really covers those, but you did talk about the marketplace before. But yeah, if you use voice mod, consider going to the Elgato and seeing if you want to swap out Elgato's things because they'll be a little bit more again, they'll be a little bit more in line. I think there may be a better response time from those than there would from voice mod.
Yeah, when I noticed that you could get sound effects from Elgato and things like that. You couldn't do some of the voice change stuff, but you could do sound effects, and that's mainly what I was using voice mod for. So I cut out voice mod from my system and just used the Elgato files and sound effects.
Mm.
Yeah. So, anything else we want to talk about concerning audio things?
Um No, I think yeah, no, I would definitely look into Mixline if you're curious. Just, you know, again, you're like anything that you install, usually if you're going to install any kind of mixer on your system, they're going to want to start first. They're going to want you to route everything through them. And some of them are good. Like I will say, the Wave XLR and Wavelink software is not great if you only want to use it for streaming because it really wants to just kind of have control over your whole system. But other audio mixers will basically just be there when you need, and then the rest of the time, everything comes through the default channel. So it's fun to play with, and I'm glad that Mixline is out because it's in beta, it's free, and it will replace a lot of people who have maybe wanted something like Wavelink but haven't had an Elgato anything, so it hasn't worked well for them.
All right. So now we're going to kind of move into, well, we got one more hardware thing. We're going to go back to hardware a second. But we were in audio. I had it, hardware and
We
software,
kind
but
of yeah,
since
we
we were
moved yeah,
in,
like it's fine.
yeah, we were talking about audio, Mixline made sense to bring up. One more hardware thing is that, and neither of us have these, but you can go to my throne list and support the purchase of one when they come back in stock, uh, which
Right.
is the Elgato prompter, which Lonzo brought up again. That yes, the prompter does look great, and it's one of those things that just kind of came out of left field for me. I wasn't really planning on looking at a teleprompter because I was thinking about teleprompters, right? And like they'd be handy, but then I need a tablet and a camera. But then Elgato goes, no, we just made an all-in-one thing. Here you go. It works with multiple stuff. Magic. And I'm like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. As someone that does a fair amount of trying to read stuff that is on a screen in front of them, I am very tempted. The only reason that it's not a super option for me is my setup actually has the camera between me and my monitor. So the Elgato prompter is like an additional piece that will be on top of it. So it would be blocking my playing games and stuff like that. But it's it's an amazing little piece of hardware. I remember when somebody saw like they saw a sneak peek of one at a hardware at a convention, and they took a picture and they were like, "Is this going to be a thing? What's going on?" And Elgato said nothing for months, and then all of a sudden, boom, prompter. And I've seen some people do test videos with it. It's great, not just for doing teleprompting, but also the fact that you can put your Twitch chat in there, so you're not looking off on another screen to do that. Um, if you ever have to read a promo to camera, like you can just have it there. And obviously, using a prompter takes some practice. So like you kind of need to be far enough and close enough that you're not doing the thing with your eyes tracking the words and you're not waiting for it. It's dialing it into your preference, but a teleprompter is amazing. I wish that they made one that would fit a little bit like I wish it had options to fit a little bit differently because the way it fits right now is really just on top of and behind your webcam. And
Hmm.
that's not super going to work for me, but for other people, it may be great.
Yeah, and I guarantee when they were coming up with this, they were thinking of the traditional teleprompter in a studio, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and not, oh, right, streamers have all these weird setups. They're thinking, no, this is how this works. We can miniaturize this, and it would be
I
my guess at it. So,
Yeah, I really think, I mean, you have seen Elgato's promo videos. All of us have. They tend to assume there is one streamer setup and that is it. It is the desk, it is the camera behind the two monitors, it is the foam on the sides, and it's your cool RGB lighting, and you're essentially facing a wall the entire time. There are no other streaming setups than that. So, like that, and the prompter works great for those things. What's interesting is it is definitely a personal prompter. Like as a teleprompter, it would be bad. You could not
hmm
use this for multiple people. You could not use it for like the camera is far back because you need to see it. So I think the special sauce that they added was you can put anything on it. So it doesn't have to just be your script. It could be, you could put like a separate game stream, or you could actually have somebody else's stream on it. Like if you're going to raid into them, you could keep an eye on them to know, okay, now they're going to break, we're going to hop in. So putting any video output source on it is really what the key for this is, but it's definitely a personal type of machine.
Yeah, yeah. But what it is, it's innovative in the space. Even with those caveats, it's still quite an interesting thing.
Mhm.
And I ran teleprompter in a TV studio before, and the trickiness of, as Herb was saying, controlling the speed. Like I controlled the speed for someone else, so I had to listen to their cadence and everything and make it go faster or slower depending on how they were getting through the words. And
Amazing.
that's a talent. If you can get good at that, that's that takes time to figure out. But you can also do the same thing because Elgato Prompter works with all the Elgato software. You can just program to work it with your Stream Deck and have, and just control it with one of the mini knobs that the Elgato, the Stream Deck Plus gives you. Knobs are great. Touch the knobs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
This is a family show. It's really not. It's not. Um, I'm actually surprised that you didn't mention the Stream Deck Plus as part of your tech, but did you is that not was that not a 2023? I thought that was a 2023 for
Oh,
you.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I should have
Yeah.
brought it up, but because in my brain it's tied to the Wavelink software, and I'm not using the Wavelink software right now, so I just kind of
Yeah.
left out. However, since I have
Um,
the Elgato Facecam Pro, that now has the controls on that. So, if I want to get close, I can get close.
that was too close. No. Um, I think honestly a forever if I could give a piece of technology that streamers use a forever place on the list, some form of Stream Deck would definitely be it.
Hmm.
You don't have to have anything else Elgato at all. It People have basically been able to use plugins and things so it can control everything. Something that we're going to talk about next, including your bot. It can control Streamer Bot. I'm pretty sure it actually has access to control other bots as well. So Stream Deck in some form, whether you do just the Mini, the XL, the Stream Deck Plus with the knobs, that's I don't want to say essential because I don't want anyone to feel like they have to have one, but you're going to find that it's going to make a lot of things easier if you add that into your streaming setup.
Yeah, even if you go with something like Touch Portal or Loop Deck or AverMedia a, a thing like a Stream Deck as well. Y-
Yeah.
if you don't like the way the Elgato looks or whatever, go for one of those. That's definitely a having something like that is definitely a benefit to your streaming life. And there's, like I said, Touch Portal is like, I don't know, $15 for a lifetime license or something like that
Right. Hmm.
if you need it. And speaking of software and things, you know what came out this year as well for the Stream Deck was the Elgato Stream Deck iOS app,
Oh,
which
I've
uh,
not pulled that up. I've not put that on. If you're somebody, the weakness I found in mobile based apps was their inability to hold a strong connection. So if it went to sleep, you had to reconnect, and sometimes that took time. But if you're somebody that keeps a tablet plugged into your machine, and then sets it to not go to sleep, then it's another great option. And I mean, like, I'm sorry that like I can't do that many numbers. Okay, I cannot do that many. That was way more buttons than I could ever have on my Stream Deck. So, winner right there.
right, and you can set this to have whatever button combo you want. So I just have the Spotify button. I press it, and Spotify comes up instantly. Right, it's great. You should all be hearing Spotify right now. Pause it, and yeah, it's really easy. It's really easy to set up. Um, if you want to try a Stream Deck like thing and you have an iOS device, you get 6 buttons for free forever. So if you just want to try it out and not pay a dime, and maybe you only need 6 buttons because you can create multiple folders as well. And so you could, and you're only going to have one button that takes you back. So you would have an infinite amount of 5 button setups after you go into that folder. You could do that too. That's an option.
Oh,
Otherwise, this,
especially oh,
yeah.
like
So this it has a monthly subscription or a lifetime for $60 or so, 50 somewhere in
no,
there.
that's not bad. Yeah.
Uh, so that is another option for you. But this was something else that came out this year that I really like, and I'm 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 a bit upset that it works so well because maybe I would have less hardware on my desk and Stream Decks, but now I'm never getting rid of any of them. But
Yeah. It's yeah, like, I mean, and it I think for tech, anything that makes your workflow a little bit easier and anything that uses what you already have. So the fact that that can now sub in, if you have an iOS device, you can, kind of get started using that to see how well it works. That is very cool. I kind of like that.
yeah, and the 6 buttons for free is again a smart marketing move where it's like, no, we think you're gonna like this product. You're gonna probably like it a lot, so we're just giving you 6 buttons for free forever.
Yeah,
So
there
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Nice.
but yeah.
Let's
So
see.
that was now. Oh, oh, Kitty, where are you? Where'd you go? I don't see you. I heard you.
Oh no.
Oh, there you are. Hi, hi. Yes, hello. All right. So, oh, go ahead. You're good. Were you gonna say something?
Um, oh no, I wasn't. I was actually wondering if we could maybe take our break now,
Oh, yes. Before we get into
because we've kind of
our
done
next
hardware and
thing.
now software. Um, I apologize. Real life is intervening, so I'm like, I kind of have to do a thing. Um, but yeah, when we come back, we've talked a lot about hardware, especially audio and devices, and we'll be talking about the software that we have added and used this year, and some things that I haven't even looked into. So I'm going to be learning from DC when we come back. It'll be great.
All right. Be back in about 5-10 minutes. If you would please, for 200 channel points, you can get YouTube Shorts playing on the screen. So if you want to try that out, as soon as I hit the BRB screen and another button, that channel point reward will show up. So try that out. Otherwise, sit back, relax, listen to the music, might run some ads, and we'll see you all back in 5 to 10. Oh! Well, there I go, blowing myself up again. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. Okay. Wisdom is my best. We're gonna try it. It'll probably be hard, but sure. Go eat the brain then. Look, a 23. You think I'm gonna fail that one? I mean, you know.
Oh, that was a mistake. I forgot it pulled enemies closer. Oops. Sorry, you were too close.
Oh! Well, there I go, blowing myself up again. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. How I connected all my audio and how I could still control audio with Stream Deck knobs, because we all know the knobs are important and the knobs are good to touch. So, hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for trying out the shorts. That made me really happy to see all that going on. I really appreciate it. But welcome back to the final Tech Friday of 2023 with guest Urban Bohemian, who's right there.
Am I here? Wait, I don't. Hi.
You're over there on the OBS
Okay,
screen.
but are you there or are you there?
The first one. Yeah. Nope. That one. Yeah.
You're there.
I'm there.
See,
So,
I'm backwards. So yeah, it's bad for me. Hi, yes, I'm here. We're talking about tech that we used and stuff that happened this year. I forgot, DC, you owe Chad a hat change.
Oh, I do. Right. Okay. Let's see what we got here.
But yeah, in the first half of this, we covered hardware. We covered streaming with Mac OS and the Rodecaster Duo, Logitech's Blue Sona, XLR mic, which is now paired with an XLR mixer that I use, the Elgato Wave. And then we talked a little bit about Mixline, since we were sort of in the audio, milieu of discussing. And then we talked about the Elgato prompter, which so that was a lot of hardware that we talked about in the first half of the final Tech Friday of 2023. Now we're going to start talking about software. So DC, why don't you tell us, what have you got cooked up for us?
All right. I got to take this off because I can't take myself.
No, we'll have the ever baking come back later. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
that's gonna be more serious.
Well,
this is why you don't become a prop streamer, everyone, because it's just like but it's actually really appropriately timed that we're coming back after people were enjoying the Summon Shorts redemption that you have plugged in, because I know that you've got that working through StreamerBot.
Yeah, StreamerBot. So StreamerBot's been out for a while, but it became a thing for me and others this year. And if you want to do more with your stream beyond what Nightbot and MooBot can do, and you don't want to use, and you kind of want to get away from, say, Stream Elements and other things like that, use something like StreamerBot. Now, personally, I like StreamerBot. I know, Steven's using Mix It Up, and there's Atom. The same people who make the Atom vertical plugin. They also have the a bot that does things. There's also one called Sammy. Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah, there are a few local bots out there.
Yeah.
And they've all started to be developed with an eye towards being able to tap into the Twitch API and do a little more locally that the web-based bots like MooBot and Nightbot can't do.
And so StreamerBot will tap into the WebSocket of OBS and also your Stream Decks as well. And so you can have a Stream Deck button associated with StreamerBot and the website streamer.bot. If you want to look at it, try it out. It's a free program. Very very robust. As a Discord, which if you have a question on it, go to that Discord. People will help you out. I've been kind of lurking in it and looking things up as I go through, and there's a lot of helpful people, a lot of people who have been at it for a while. And one of the advantages of StreamerBot over the others is that if you know C sharp code, which I have no idea, but if you know C sharp code, you can program something in C sharp and also have that be an action in StreamerBot or part of an action in StreamerBot. And you can do triggers and everything. So you make an action, a sub action is the instructions that happens during the action, and then you have your trigger panel, which what makes the action go. And so, like the channel point reward, when you all were redeeming that channel point reward, that was a trigger in StreamerBot to run the very complicated set of things that happens to show that YouTube short on screen. And I'm going to do a video on how I did that in the near future, because it's not just a one thing. It's like three different things going on all at the same time. So
I mean, you say that, but the one thing that, even if you're not a programmer, StreamerBot has tools to let you do logical steps. And the first, it is a complex process to make that happen. You're having it watch for a specific channel point redemption that gets turned on when it hits a certain scene, then it does a timer. However, the way that you start approaching that is by just writing down what you want to happen. Like when this happens, I want this to happen. That is how I've started out all of my StreamerBot actions, no matter how complex they seem, is I want this to happen when I do this. And from then you just kind of say, okay, that step works, move on to the next one. Then you're always going to add in delays. And so it can be daunting, but they do have a nice blend of here are some basic actions that you can chain together if you don't want to learn C sharp code. And I'll be honest, I am a programmer. I've not made anything in code that's too difficult. It's just I put more of my randomization stuff in code and using strings than putting randomized stuff in the actual sequences.
So yeah, all my commands, like !DC in my chat, is just a Twitch message in StreamerBot. You find the integration to Twitch, you say chat message, and you just type that in, and then every time someone hits !DC, you get that message. And I made a bot account, that's HadomancerBot, and so that's why you get all my commands through HadomancerBot, because that account exists. So
Yeah.
it's changed the way I approach all the things I do for streaming. I'm always like, okay, how can I do this with StreamerBot? How can I make this an action? And then I can just make that a button on my Stream Deck, press that button, have it go, and not worry about it. There is a wiki that lists everything, and my understanding is they're working on that, making it a little user friendly, because a lot of the wiki is here's a button and you do this with it. Well, how do you do that? You do this with
Yeah.
it.
Currently, they have the old wiki up. So if you were used to using the old one, and they are migrating a lot of pages to to a newer one, which is going to eventually have friendlier documentation. But it can still be overwhelming regardless, because StreamerBot, when you connect it up to all of your services, is extremely powerful. So there's a lot of things that it can do. Thankfully, it doesn't do any of those without it doesn't have any default stuff in there that it just starts doing once connected. It does wait for you to turn things on, but there are a lot of things you can do with it.
Yeah, it's so handy. I've taken Nightbot and MooBot I just turned them off in my channel because I don't need them anymore. And I like having, though it's more complicated, I like having a more robust option to put things into chat, and that's really great for me. I mean, I have where's my let me find my streamer bot window again. There it is. Oh no, that's just the chat. Streamer bot, come back, please.
See,
There you go.
that's something else StreamerBot added is a nice new chat window as well. So yeah, they're constantly improving.
Yeah, so I have about 12 commands, and then I have my Spotify control. I have my buffering clips, my auto shoutouts, and the YouTube shorts are all done with StreamerBot. And I don't know what I would do without StreamerBot at this point. And the nice thing about StreamerBot is you can export your commands and save them to a file somewhere. So if you got to reload it, you can just re-import your commands. Or if you go to their Discord, people will have their command chains up for you, and you just copy that thing into the import section, and you instantly have their commands in. So
It's the amount of I think the amount of streamers out there that the ones who do like pro advice or pro how to's, the number of them that have realized the power of StreamerBot and the number of I forgot the word for tutorial. There it is. The number of tutorials out there, both text and in YouTube. If you're looking on how to do something, somebody will have already figured this out. And that's something that's streaming in general is somebody will have already figured this out. You just have to find it, or you can muddle through on your own and then ask questions as you go along. Um, I I was looking to replace my alerts because again, a lot of us are moving away from Streamlabs and Stream Elements, but I wanted something that was very simple. And now Twitch has native alerts. I could use those, but I looked up how to do that in StreamerBot. So it now watches for any of the specific actions. It takes the right variables and it just has a very tiny thing show up with a noise. And it's not as intrusive anymore. If I'm playing a game that's like heavy and somebody comes in with a raid, the alert is a lot less in your face. So it may not step on a moment on stream. Um, they have other things that do rely on some local files, like they can do the credits scroll that we kind of get used to at the end. But yeah, it really has changed a lot in terms of what I no longer worry about happening. Like things happen automatically, they happen on their own, or they're at the press of a button where before I would have to say, okay, hold on, I got to get this to run. But yeah, now I have like, one button to run ads from my Stream Deck at the appropriate time. I even now have StreamerBot, depending on what day I'm streaming and what time I start, it's gonna
that action is in StreamerBot.
yeah, great. It's great. What's funny is DC could have that come from his account, but he still chooses to have it come from the bot, which makes you realize that even DC doesn't really stand behind that statement fully 100%, that he's not willing to say it with his own account. All right? Just saying. But I mean, I have a very complex startup screen that like the minute I start OBS, the minute it detects that I have started streaming, the bot says, oh, what day is it? Okay, well, if it's a Tuesday, then we're going to run a 90-second ad. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, we're going to run a 3-minute ad at the start. It does a whole kind of setup thing and lets me wander without having to worry about anything. If it could tweet for me, I'd let it do that. But so far, not yet, as far as I know. I don't know if I want to give it that much power. But if there's anything that you're curious, like, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to replace, because a lot of us had Streamlabs chatbot, which was the next kind of local bot that was doing some WebSockets programming, but they didn't bother continuing to update it when it needed to be. So we really just needed something that was more reliable. And I don't know. Again, it's very much of a, oh, I'd love to do this cool thing. Maybe I can do that with StreamerBot. You just kind of have to sit down and figure out you just like you would for any effect on stream. You got to sit down, figure out how you want it to happen, and code it. Or again, find someone else who's already done it and get their code for free, or pay them, usually between $5 to $15, and they'll say, "Okay, great, I'll send you the code. You're good to go."
And if you are looking up tutorials for StreamerBot, uh, look for 0.2.0 and above, because they did a big UI change. And so you can get an idea with some of the older ones, but they changed how a lot of things work with the point 2 edition. And most of the videos, if they are done this year, not probably within the first, say by May or so of this year, I can't remember when point 2 came out. They're at point 2.2 right now, but you'll want to look for videos that have that in there, and you can tell what version they're using, because there's an action window, a sub action window, and above the sub action window is the triggers window. And if you see the triggers window, that is the newer version. Those are the videos you want to look at.
Yeah. The older videos will still serve you well, but you need to have a little more familiarity with working with the current version of StreamerBot to understand where to swap in when they say create an action or create a sub action. You'll now know that you need to assign it to a trigger ahead of time. Well, you actually can create them without assigning them to triggers. So if you're just testing out steps, but yeah, you'll want to make sure that there is some kind of trigger for the action. Otherwise, it could be flawlessly coded and it will never happen. Ask me how I know.
So yeah, definitely look at one of these bots if you want to kind of upgrade what you're doing with your stream. They're exceptionally handy, and
Oh yeah.
I like it. And it is StreamerBot has that StreamerBot that did the virtual thing, right? That we tested a while ago.
Was that StreamerBot?
Was
What
that
did we use for the
StreamerBot?
that was something else.
That was something
No,
else.
so a while back DC and I tested out it is a virtual, essentially I through a web browser interface would have access to control things in DC's. It was coming directly to your OBS or your Stream Deck. I think it was a
Uh,
button format, but it was directly to OBS, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the same.
What
Wait, was
was
this
it? Do
it?
you remember?
No, I don't remember how he did it. I thought it was
Um,
through StreamerBot. But basically, Herb had control of my stream with buttons.
And it was a really
And
interesting
yeah.
exercise in being able to, on the off chance that you need to give your mods the ability to do something, you could give them a small interface that they'd be able to, whether it was switching scenes, whether it was you've been muted, unmuting you, which sometimes mods just need that ability because we don't know. Um, and it gave a very, and we did some very silly things like turning on and off a source and muting. I think I had a command to mute DC at that point.
Hmm.
Um, and it was interesting because yeah, it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to need this. You're also going to need a really super tight internet connection because you're almost always watching Twitch on a delay. So it's very hard to moderate something that you're not even seeing happen in real time. But it was a way to, and I've done this with commands. Like there are certain commands that are moderator only through StreamerBot that will let them do things. But in general, it was a much more graphic interface to click a button and make this happen. And I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, and I'm not
I
finding it on
uh,
the StreamBot site if it's here.
Hold on a second. Did we
So
DM about? And I'm gonna
we
go look
did
and see like where did
if
we
you go to
talk
my
about this?
YouTube and look at one of the Tech Fridays with Urban Eye, it's one of those.
Somewhere, somewhere way back when we did this.
Way back when we did this.
but yeah, it was again, it was kind of clever, and it was a cool thing, and um that thing where you and a friend talk a lot, and now you're trying to find something in your DMs, and I'm like, oh, it's way back up there, wasn't it? It really is. Okay, never mind. Anyway, yes, go back to the back to the video because he definitely talked about it. Um, but essentially, those those things that you have that you don't really think about that will control your stream, allow you to add um, a little extra razzle dazzle, and StreamerBot allows you to you can capture those events if maybe you don't like the alerts that happen with Streamlabs or Stream Elements. Maybe you want something super simple. Maybe you just want something to pop up like a picture and a small sound effect versus something that does a massive. You can have StreamerBot look for those events and just turn on a source and turn it off. And I have a thing go in chat when it does. And it's simple, but it's something that all of these stream packages make you think you have to have. Like, well, you've got to connect it to Streamlabs if you want this to work. And no, you can still buy those streamer packages and they will work just fine without it. You just have to pass variables back and forth. So there's a little bit of coding, a little bit of programming logic step you have to understand. Um, but if you don't, and you've got StreamerBot installed and working, ask someone how they've done it. And chances are they'll just say, oh, yeah, let me export my actions and commands, and you can import them. And here's what it does.
Yeah, again, I just really like StreamerBot.
It is, no, yeah. Like this stream runs on StreamerBot and Diet Dr. Pepper. It does.
Yeah, pretty much. You wouldn't have this stream without those two things anymore. All right. Do we want to say anything else? I mean, I know we could talk about StreamBot for a long time, but is there anything else we want to mention right now?
Not particularly. Although I realize I will remind those watching on either network that if you have questions or comments or anything you want to bring up about what we're discussing, by all means throw those in the chat. You don't have to save your questions until the end. We may not answer them until the end, but definitely throw something in there.
Yep. And I can see both chats. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, we will see the message. All right. So next thing, and I haven't really played with this too much, though I should, is the NVIDIA broadcast
This is going to
software.
be just a tiny, tiny, tiny note in that if anybody remembers when they started doing their NVIDIA started doing their RTX things, most people will probably now understand the noise cancellation for audio. Like that started to be baked into, oh, I can use the resources of your graphics card to run this, so your system is no longer trying to run noise cancellation on your end. If you use VSTs and other things, you don't need that. But what NVIDIA did, and everybody remembers this for the weird thing, which was the eye contact software, um, which thankfully now that Elgato has a prompter, we don't need the weird eye contact software anymore. Um, but what I found it way better for is the cleanness. It's really good at detecting people and where they are. And maybe I should be a little concerned about that in case law enforcement ever gets it. But it's really good at detecting the shape of people and blanking out like you can see my background kind of fuzzes in when I go past it, but and also it it doesn't know what a microphone arm is, so it just says no to that. Um, but it allows me to send a much cleaner green screen to OBS, or also in this case to DC's OBS, because it's already done all the foxing and feathering around me, and it's a solid color. There doesn't have to be You don't have to actually do any variation on it. I still use my green screen to help it along, but I could now use this without my green screen entirely, and it would be fine. So that's the one thing, that if your system is able to run it. And I will also say, boo to NVIDIA, because they don't offer enough support for it. You can't control anything. Like like I would love a Stream Deck button to be able to turn off my green screen, to turn off that green element, but I can't because they won't let you configure it anymore. You can't get it to stick the video source. So it's not great. It is just a very minor thing that I run that does one thing and does it really well. And that's it. I can replace this with a background. I can, I can add a video in behind me. I can add that. So sometimes I'll put the dice background in sorry, my brain just left me. I'll put the dice background in through NVIDIA Broadcast and not through Zoom or something else. But mostly because I know that my video is being sent to somebody else, I give them the cleanest green screen that they can use, and they don't have to worry about constantly adjusting if my lights like change. Like my lighting is bad, but the green screen didn't matter. So, so yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, when Herb gave me his video feed and that nicely lit green screen, and I was I just turned on in OBS the default settings on the green screen filter just worked, and now you see it. We have the same background because of Herb's wonderful green screen. So, and it looks really good.
It's both. I have a physical one and a virtual one, and the virtual one is doing most of the work. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And hello, Kay. Welcome on in.
Hey, welcome on in.
All right. So next up is something we gotta be careful about where we point people to because the name of the product is confusing.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. So a little background on this. We've all had issues with music on stream, and we all thought we had some good solutions for that. We thought we had a company that had our backs, and then that company, I will say it's not their fault. It's not entirely their fault, but they had a bunch of malicious, automated, repeated takedowns of their songs. So all of us who were using Pretzel suddenly found all of our videos flagged for nothing. Um, so I saw DC using this on his stream one day, and first off, just the fact that it looked cute, I was already like, okay, I need that, whatever it is. Um, and that is the 6K Labs Amuse plugin for Spotify. Which have you thrown it up with us now?
Yeah, I turned down the
Yeah,
volume, so we should have background music
um,
going.
and it just works. It's you go to their website, you connect it, you set it up. It is a browser source you put into OBS, and the initial version of it was already great, but they've also added some new things to the plugin. The number one is it goes away when you can tell it to vanish when you pause the music. And another is you can have different profiles. So I now have a different profile for my Windows machine than I do for my Mac machine. So it behaves a little bit differently on my Mac. Um, but it's a very simple thing. It's really really simple to connect and install, quote unquote install. It's adding a browser source. Um, and there are tons and tons and tons of actual stream safe playlists out there. You would think that I do get a take not a takedown. I get muted every now and then on my starting soon or my
Hmm.
BRB. Um, but another reason that I love the plugin is I can see very specifically what song was playing when I got the mute, and I can maybe take it out of the playlist if I want to next time. I don't because I'm lazy, but I could. Um,
And yeah, so make sure you go to the 6klabs.com/amuse because there is other software out there. If you just search for Amuse, you'll find some sort of paid sound thing. That's not what you're looking
yeah.
for. You need to go to 6K Labs website for the Amuse plugin. We discovered that like a month ago or so when talking about this, and like, why can't we find it? Oh, right.
Yep.
so, so go to 6klabs.com/amuse and get what we talk about. And the changes are pretty instant. And when the music stopped, you saw after a little delay, it disappeared on stream, and that's one of the newer things you can do with that. And any changes you make to the interface happen almost immediately. Urban and I both have little differences in what we like to do with it, but I will let me show it up. You do have to. There's instructions on the website how to do this. So you basically go to creator Spotify account dashboard thingy, and you gotta be Spotify premium member too. Um,
Yeah.
and once you create a thingy and relate it to their website, I'll pull it up here. You can change. Now some of this is gonna look weird because I don't have it sized for some of this, but if I want to go to a compact view, I click it. There, it just changed how it looked as soon as I clicked it. Right now, we're usually at the boxy. We can have that, the record doesn't need to spin. If I just hit square, it'll eventually just go into a solid square of the album art. But I like the rotating circle, so. And you can change colors, cover glow, all that stuff. And I have a high delay of 10 seconds, but you can change that to whatever. And you just handle it all through the dashboard on the 6K Labs website.
Yeah, it's a really nice, like if you've ever used any of the iTunes or VLC, or if anybody remembers Winamp, it's got that mini player feel to it that's really nice. You can let it decide its own colors, or if you just want to match them with your stream, you can do that. And like DC said, the setup is you do need to be a Spotify premium member. And to do this, you will set up an application, which if you've ever had a Twitter bot work from something else, you may also be familiar with. Okay, I had to set up a Twitter bot that just kind of uses my account in the API. It's free. It will walk you through exactly what you need, and it will also tell you what to ignore. So it tells you exactly what to do. But then after that, it just works. The only thing I'll say is Spotify does need to be playing from actually, sorry, that's my bad. Spotify can be playing from anywhere in your house, and this will happen. It's just you probably want it to be playing on the machine that you're streaming from. Um, my bad. It's the Spotify plugin for Stream Deck. The Spotify plugin for Stream Deck it actually needs to know which one you're coming from. So that's my bad. I use those now in concert. And it's really, really good.
It's a great little plugin, really easy to use, and you know, uh, places place like Spotify has a lot of music you can use on your stream. So it takes a while. You can find lists. I tend to use Lo-Fi Girl, um, but there's a bunch of others too. So definitely check that
Yes.
out.
And one day when I learn how to properly split my audio, you can do listening parties by using perfectly fine licensed Spotify songs that will not get attached to your VOD. It's just, because it kind of takes you back to the days where we were like, look, we just want to listen to whatever music that we vibe to while we were online. So that's not a thing that we had up for discussion today, but I remember, like, if you're using Spotify, the majority of playlists are not stream safe, they are not DMCA free. But if you're splitting your audio, then you'd be able to accomplish that as well. I got to learn how to do that.
Yes, so going back to our audio discussion, this reminds me of another thing. A lot of um, a lot of the audio software and even mixers like the Rodecaster Pro will say, here's what we kind of want you to use as a master mix and just flow everything, and so you just have to put that one thing into your OBS to use. Well, you can also put each individual channel into OBS, and so you have each separate one, and you don't have to rely on master mix. Like I have my Spotify is on one channel in OBS. This chat is on a different channel in OBS, and I that way I can control both, and they're not going through the same thing, and I can just have different volumes and make it wonderful like that. And I just like that extra bit of control. You don't have to do that if taking the main mix from there works best for you. Great, but I have I have needs where I need to separate out the tracks, especially on my starting soon screen, so I don't have to worry about muting my mic when I go to like a BRB screen because that audio source just isn't there. So you're never going to hear it. I can keep talking to Herb while we're, behind the scenes, and I don't have to do some sort of microphone thing, well, to try to talk to him or find a chat window just to talk like, okay, we're on break, we can't talk anymore right now, and again, I don't have to do anything. I just don't include that audio source in the scene, and it,
Yeah, it's weirdly counterintuitive from what all of the audio things wanted. Like the reason that they came up with Wavelink and the reason that they came up with Mixline is so that you only have to have one stream output audio to your thing, which is again very easy. However, if you suddenly realize, oh well, I really would like to be able to split this out, or I honestly the like hearing that and saying, "Hey, on my BRB screen, there is no mic input." I'm like, "Oh, wait, yeah, that way I don't ever have to worry about touching a button." Got it. Got it.
yeah,
So, yeah, if you all of a sudden said, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe this, like this screen doesn't need that or this doesn't need that," or you just all of a sudden for whatever reason you need a an identical but separate scene that cuts the audio of one of your things, your music, your game, your browser, etc. You could just do that and switch back and forth. So, I don't know that I'll get to that point yet, but I do know that if I'm going to start switching if I'm going to start using different audio tracks, which is also really, again, great for editing game moments. If you have that split out, then you don't have any of your music. You just have you and the game on separate audio tracks. But to do that, I would need to then start bringing back those audio sources into OBS, and I already have too many sources in my scenes already. I'm gonna cry if like I almost want to burn OBS to the ground and start from scratch just so I can be like, oh, it's so clean again. But yeah, go to OBS and look at all of your hidden sources and ask yourself, do I really need this anymore?
mhm.
Just do it.
I did a bit of a cleaning yesterday while I was setting up these shots. I'm like, why is this still here? I don't need that. So I also do this for game audio now, so that I will hear the game audio through my mixer and these headphones, right? But you won't until I go to the game screen itself, and then it'll pipe through because there's no need have it uh, to have it going during the while I'm chatting with you or anything like that. It can just occur during the game screen, unless the music's really cool and we want to share the track during a scene or during a just chatting scene or something. But that's a simple. I hit a button. I add that track to the current scene and
Yeah.
do for an OBS rebuild. I don't wanna. Yeah, it's a thing.
I mean, it's kind of like the, New Year's slash spring cleaning, or sometimes if you're lucky enough to switch machines and you get a new machine, you do import all your old stuff from OBS. But sometimes you're like, I don't need that anymore. That's got to go. This is done. And yeah, I have a lot of hidden sources that I'm like, why do I have this anymore? Like I just need to get rid of it.
Indeed. All right. Let's move on to the next thing we have, which I kind of want to bring up two things with this. Uh,
Oh,
I want to mention we're going to get into a little bit of the maps feature now on D&D Beyond, but also I want to talk about other TTRPG places like Demiplane has put out a lot of Nexuses, Nexi, I don't know the plural, um, for various games, and they're an excellent company. And check out what they're doing with the games because those are very good digital tools. And speaking of digital tools, we also now have maps if you're a master tier subscriber on D&D Beyond that you can share with your players. And I am using this for every game session I run now. Um,
ew.
yeah.
I never use maps. I hate maps. I don't even know how to click and do the ruler thing. if I have to actually learn how far 30 feet away from something is, that's just rude to me. Honestly, I don't want
I
the DM to be like, you're not close enough for that. No.
I haven't created my own maps yet. I'm using default maps for various things.
But yeah, it's very much like welcome to the party, D&D Beyond. Roll20 had this from the get-go. Demiplane's doing it. There are a lot of other online free sites that do this. So if you're on anytime you're looking to do something, go out and search because there are tons of free resources.
Mhm.
But D&D Beyond has maps, and I noticed they have some kind of pre-gen campaigns if you'd like to use, and some defaults. But it's slick. I haven't done a test game with them yet because again, using maps for me for virtual tabletop, yeah, I don't come to it easily, and I would like to learn. I just haven't yet.
Yeah, so the way I use this is I put a monster on the field, I hide it, I just select whatever map I want to use, it doesn't matter. I hide it, and then I put the player tokens on, and then we go from there. And like someday I'll have an actual map that makes a difference, but right now it's just something to look pretty and grids. And so what you can do with it is, and they're building map use for different adventures slowly. So not every adventure will have its maps available, but there are quite a few that they've built for this, and you can just import whatever map you want from there, or you can build your own and import into the thing, make a grid. There's a ruler. You can take the player tokens from the campaign that you've selected and put them on the map. And these will resize with your map scale too. So will the monsters, and they have the whole monster list. Whatever monsters you have access to through D&D Beyond, you can type in their name, search them, and just place that token right on the map right away for it. And if you want to hide the token, there is a fog of war. But if you want to hide it, you can left click on it, and there's just a hide button, and you can hide the monster without putting a fog of war over it.
Nice.
And you can also, there's a ruler, so you can measure distance between, let's say, I only have 25 feet of movement. Will that get me to the adult lunar dragon on the map? Yes, it will. I can walk up to the adult lunar dragon on the map. And you can, they did another thing called point, which is a highlighter. You click that, and you circle around, and it makes like a little comet tail on your cursor, so people can see what you're pointing to on the map. Like go right, it's right above you. You can actually just kind of circle it on the map, and everyone will be able to see what you're pointing at.
Yeah.
So that's handy, and it's early days for it, but I'm finding it very useful in my D&D games. And that's kind of all I wanted to say about it, really.
I think, them adding that, especially now everything we know, and DC and I looked at this and we talked about it on a previous stream, everything we know about the virtual tabletop, this is kind of a nice, not backslide exactly, but it's more of, here's what D&D Beyond probably should have had first before worrying about an entire virtual 3D tabletop. Like, just maps is fine. Because people were using I've definitely used a hybrid before of, we run the game on Roll20, but everybody says, is it okay if I use my D&D Beyond? And I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter what you use because each thing has its specific stuff. I typically don't play with maps. If I run a game, I typically don't run them with maps. My games are definitely more theater of the mind. Because I would never want someone to be 6 inches away from the radius that they need. I would be like, no, just do it. It's fine. You're close enough.
And truthfully, I
But
still
yeah.
run things that way, even though there's a map. But some of my players like the visual representation of things.
Yeah, he runs things that way, but then he always has like lair monsters with legendary actions that if you didn't bring any magic stuff, he won't let you do anything to. So like, it doesn't matter if there's a map or not. Your character's just sitting over there reading a magazine while everyone else is doing stuff. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Yeah.
And sometimes I've given the players things at the beginning, and then they don't use them at the end when they could. But yeah. Um,
Not me. Has never been me. I'm like, if I had anything I could use right now, over here reading Mayonnaise Quarterly while the rest of the party's doing stuff. It's fine.
And if you're wondering what we're talking about, all those are charity games that are on my YouTube channel that ran 2022, I think, and we did all of those.
Yes, it's the DCCU, the DC Lasair Culinary Universe.
They are all kind of bakery themed, and we have one more bakery themed coming up. Hopefully, I'll get to that next year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That should be a fun time for all
Yeah,
and charity
absolutely.
stream. So yeah. All right. Next up, we have something I'm taking advantage of right now. Is Twitch changed its multi-stream policy this year, which Twitch changed something and it was for the better.
Well, I mean, we got to give them one because the last thing that
Yeah.
Twitch changed, they reversed in under a day. So let's give them multi-streaming. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
So Twitch finally allows you to stream to multiple live platforms at the same time. And as soon as they put that out, it was a day of me figuring out, how do I do this? And I found like 3 different ways to do this, and I've tried them all. Oh. And it really depends on your internet and how good it is. The easy one for most people would be to go to Restream, and you don't have to pay for an account. You get 2 for free, so you're probably going to do Twitch and YouTube, just like me, and then you set OBS to go to Restream, and then Restream goes, okay, I'll send these to Twitch and YouTube, and you're multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. You can also do this with the Atom Vertical plugin, but then you're ruining your chance to make Atom Vertical things during the time, right? Because it's only going to do one thing. It's either going to multi-stream for you, or it's going to make the vertical
have that other scene. Yeah.
Vertical scenes for you. But the thing I'm using currently is a plugin for OBS called Multiple Output. And you download it and you install it like you would any other OBS plugin. It's like RTMP multiple output, something like that. And this one does take extra resources on your computer. So if you don't have, you probably need a little better internet, and basically any fiber internet's going to work. Any more that your high end internet will probably work for this, because it's encoding on your machine and sending the signal out, whereas Restream does all that for you. But this way you can set different encoding things and have some different options set up. So right now I have, I'm streaming to Twitch, and I have the multiple output plugin going to YouTube. And you can set it so that when you hit start streaming, it starts streaming to both without having to hit any other button. You just hit the one button and it'll start it up live in both places. It is a little extra work. You do have to remember to change titles on both Twitch and YouTube. And, and there's a few more things to check on YouTube than there is on Twitch to make sure, your stream is in the right category, and it's not for kids, and if you want to set the record date, and if you want to set this and this and this, you can do all that before you go live, but you still have to do it all before you go live. It's just a little extra work, but not bad.
On the YouTube side, are some of those settings are not persistent on the YouTube side?
You can save some of them, I think. I'm not clear on that, but if you go to your YouTube channel before you go live and you click the in the where you have the little camera in the corner where it says create, and then you click create and you go to the go live thing. You won't be going live instantly when you create that, but that is where all of your things you need to adjust appear. And so
Okay.
in the upper corner is a block of where you click the edit button and you can edit your title, set it for kids or not for kids, change your categories, change your tags, and set the record date. Because the
Okay.
record date
So,
will not update on its own. So you either leave that blank
wow.
and yeah, because it'll be like, oh, this is what you wanted for the record date. So this must be the setting you want. Uh,
Yikes.
so
Okay. So it's a one more step of your, like, just like you would with the Twitch dashboard where you set your stream up. It's like one
mhm,
extra step on the YouTube side. Okay.
yeah, but it's not hard to do. It's just a little more time you got to think about doing. And it seems to be well worth it. And then I have a Twitch VOD and a YouTube VOD, and I didn't have to do extra to make that happen. You can just watch these wherever you find most convenient. So plus it
Nice.
doesn't vanish when it's on YouTube. It just stays there, whereas Twitch will
That's
take away some of your VODs after a while.
yeah. Um that is very handy. Like I've said, it's the interesting thing is it also doesn't appear like a video on YouTube. It appears in your, like, you actually now have a category for your live videos, and those videos appear there. So you can change your main page shelf so that the live videos show up now. But if it works well, I think that's good. I know Twitch made the change because they were getting dogged out over people leaving because they didn't allow for multi-streaming, or they allowed you to stream on other platforms, but you could not stream live Twitch content to other platforms. You had to stream completely different content to those other platforms. And everyone's like, if I'm already setting up to stream live from Twitch and stream live from these other platforms, just let me do all at once. So this is great if that's the thing. I do know you have a plugin on the back end, or you're using a combined chat window on your end, so you're able to monitor both chats.
Yeah.
But Twitch does not. It does not allow. Sorry, they do not allow you, per their multi-streaming policy, to have a plugin that allows you to show both chats on your stream. The legal reason for this is that not every platform's moderation settings are the same as Twitch's. The Make up your own mind what the reason is mainly just because Twitch is being a butt.
Right. And for Twitch, that chat is just the Twitch chat. It's no one else. It's just, I can see the YouTube chat, but down below is just the Twitch chat. Okay? All right. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somebody's just going to come up with a bot very soon that will paste everything that happens on YouTube into your Twitch chat. But if it does it through a bot, then it would be subject to Twitch's moderation policy. Somebody out there
mhm,
take this idea because it can probably get past their weird issues.
yeah, and I can set this chat below to also display YouTube chat if I wanted. There's a button for that.
You
I know, right?
would never do that because you're not a scofflaw.
Penny Arcade has that. Yeah. Some people are just
Oh,
going,
nice.
Nah, we're going to do it anyway." So, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'll admit I am nowhere, even as a Twitch partner, I am nowhere near large enough for Twitch to look at what I'm doing and saying, "Hey, stop that." So if you're out there doing stuff, no one's gonna know. Honestly, this is not advice. This is not legal advice. This is not streaming advice. It's just practical. No one's gonna know.
And right now, I'm seeing both chats through StreamerBot because with 0.2.0, they added a chat option. You just click it up there, and as long as your accounts are connected, it will show you both chats in a separate window.
Nice.
And yeah, and you can send the chat message to all platforms, or to just Twitch, or to just YouTube, or whatever platforms you have set up to chat with. So
Nice.
that's very handy. All right. If you have any questions, please ask them in chat. We are getting kind of towards the end. We got a couple more things to go over. And once we get through those, we're going to wrap up and everything. But if you have any questions, anything, now is your time to ask. If you have a favorite tech thing of 2023, put it in chat. We'll talk about it. All right, moving on, we have AV1 support coming in more.
I have no idea what that is.
So, like you use H.264 or H.265 or VP9
Sure.
or whatever it is.
Okay. Whatever you say, you're saying a lot of letters and numbers right now. I do know that those are video encoding. I know that much. But I saw a lot of people talking about the excitement for AV1 support. For a lot of, like, when OBS added AV1 support, everybody was very excited for this. I did not pay close attention enough to understand why.
So, yeah, Steven has brought this up before, and I agree with him that AV1 is probably one of the biggest things that came about in streaming a little bit more this year, that will really change the game for everybody, because AV1 is a codec and it's more efficient than H.264 or H.265,
Ooh.
and it will allow you to basically, ideally, you could essentially take a 4K stream, right, and stream it to YouTube. Just if you're just streaming to YouTube, you can use AV1 and you can do that. If you're
Okay.
multi-streaming, that may not work out so well. But if you were just streaming to YouTube, you could do that, and it takes less resources, because now say, for example, this is just an example. This isn't true to words, but it's a hypothetical thing. So say the space it used to take for 4K is now 1080p level, and you get a 4K stream out of it, right? So
Okay.
you're using the same amount of bits going out, but you're getting a 4K stream out of it instead of a 1080 stream. And this can help. And this was true down the chain, right? So if before you could only stream at 720p reliably, with AV1 you could stream 1080p reliably.
That's interesting. Okay.
And so that's sort of the promise of it. And if you like multi-streaming, I found it doesn't, for whatever reason, I haven't gotten that to work yet, even though I can use different codecs to stream to different places. I kind of got to use the same codec right now, and I don't know why. I haven't tried it since I got new internet, and I'll try it again, see what happens. But so AV1, Twitch hasn't implemented AV1 yet, and when they do, that'll be a game changer for a lot of people, because suddenly you get a higher quality stream for a lower cost, essentially.
Oh, we're going to see some 4K. We're going to definitely see a lot more 4K FPS streamers than doing that. I also can't wait to see how Vampire Survivors in 4K looks exactly like it does at any other resolution.
It'll still be blurry on screen. They'll be 4K
yeah.
blurry on screen.
It's like they don't need to use the blurring out of the face on those interviews anymore. They should just stream Vampire Survivors with the person there. You won't be able to see anything. It's fine.
And once again, I will say, just because Vampire Survivors is one of my favorite games, that on your system and on your OBS, Vampire Survivors looks fine. You may want to, if you do a clip of Vampire Survivors, you may want to record locally so you get the good quality video, but streaming it out, it will pixelate everything, which is fantastic and a lot of fun. But
I will say, adding to that, I just recently saw from the streamer Nutty, who does a lot of how-tos and things, mentioned that for that exact thing, if you're recording at the same time that you are streaming, recording costs for most people, it should cost no additional resource or run or lag on your system. So if you have just been going to Twitch after you're done and downloading your VOD, just go ahead and use the exact same encoding system, encoding settings on your local machine, and just click start recording when you start streaming,
Yeah.
and you'll have it right there because
Yeah, there is
it,
a setting you have to change in order
mhm.
for this to happen. I can't remember what it is, but
I
it
think I liked or bookmarked the tweet because I was like, I'm definitely going back for that.
yeah, it's just a drop down thing, and you set it to like you set the recording to video encode. I wonder if I can access that right now. I may not be able to because I am streaming.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I can't.
Um,
I don't think I can change it right now because I am currently
here's
streaming.
okay.
So
Here's the tweet about it if you want to go take a look. Anyone out there, but it's oh goodness, they actually talk about the setting. Let me find it real quick.
yeah, it's
Um,
a great thing, and I just haven't added that in yet, but I'm definitely going to start doing that. And uh,
Yeah, if you're basically using the recording format MKV, and that's if you think that your stream might go down, like then you've saved it. And there's a setting under that for video encoder, and it says use the stream encoder, and that should be the only thing you should change. But obviously your miles will vary, and you will want to check these things and do tests and all that. But I've got to remember that because I am constantly um sorry, my brain. I am constantly going back and trying to find those moments and then downloading it from Twitch. And if I just remembered, hey, I've got the recording, I'll probably delete the recording in a few days. But if I've got the recording, let me just work with this now, and I don't have to do that extra step. It's nice.
yeah, I didn't know that existed, and I saw the same thing that Herb did, and I'm like, oh, I just have to set my recording to that thing, and it's taking no extra resources through OBS.
Yeah.
And we talked a little earlier. We touched on necessary things for streaming. OBS is one of those things that is not any other type of OBS, just OBS Studio OBS.
Well, they don't call it that anymore. It's
Yeah,
fine. They don't call
but
they don't allowed to.
right, yeah,
Um it not to say there aren't other things you can use, but OBS Studio is pretty much the the top tier. It's the kind of thing where if you don't know how to use it, talk to your friends who stream, let them help you, let them walk you through stuff. If you're still using Streamlabs, that's fine. It uses a lot of what OBS does, so you'll probably be able to come over fairly seamlessly. I feel like Twitch Studio still exists, but nobody uses it because it is not as configurable. Um, and there really aren't that many other desktop based streaming solutions. A lot of the ones that are out there now are going to be web based, like Restream. There's also StreamYard, where you're sending it to this, and it's browser based, which is great because it's very flexible, but you don't get a lot of configuration options. OBS is really the one where out of the box, it asks you your Twitch credentials. It does a quick test to see where you are, and it's pretty much good to go. If you want to reconfigure anything else, that's on you. But to talk about the thing we talked about at the top of the streaming from my MacBook, I installed OBS and it was ready to go within like 5 minutes. I then went in and I said, oh, let me configure this and let me change this microphone. But otherwise, it was like, okay, I got you. Just hit start and you're good to go. You'll be streaming out of the worst microphone and the worst webcam on your system. But go ahead, you're good to go. So yeah, if you ever need help with OBS, there's so many resources out there. One of which is next to hold on, you're this way.
yeah.
One of which is next to me on the stream right now. If you have OBS questions, you should definitely hit DC up.
And there you go. Go to the bio.link and yeah, go to my Ko-fi, and I have rates, uh, and I'll work with you on them as well. So and thank you for that plug. I appreciate it. All right, one last thing, and again, if you want to talk about anything, now is your time to put it into chat. Otherwise, this is a little bit away from things we're talking about, but very important in what we do, and that is that Google and other companies making it a lot easier to move away from passwords this year. We're seeing more pass keys and things like that. I don't think passwords will necessarily ever go away. There'll still be, name password things, but that is so much less secure. Turn on two-factor authentication at least when you have that option. But moving away from passwords altogether and using pass keys, whether that's a thing that a button you click on your phone when you visit a website and you go, we need to make sure it's you. Click that thing on your phone. You click the thing on your phone and you're authenticated, or your watch. Yeah.
I love it. I get a little buzz on my wrist and it's like, hey, this is trying to sign you in. Is that you? And I just do a double tap here. And no Siri. No Siri, not now. No. I lifted up the wrist and it
Yeah,
was like,
right.
do you want something?
Turned on.
Um, I appreciate that because and I'm sure many of us out there, if you were to go to your inbox, you definitely have a very recent email from somebody saying, "We are very sorry to inform you that the information has been breached." And it's getting a little bit ridiculous. Like
Hmm.
look, I'm Gen X, okay? I'm from the 80s. I'm fine with a good hack every now and then. Why can't you fix student loans with the hack as opposed to trying to grab my Xfinity information? Because who the heck cares?
Right.
Who cares about my Xfinity info? Okay, whatever. Um, so yeah, I'm very happy to see moving towards other means of verifying your identification, and the more seamless that is, the better, because that's how you're going to get people to adopt it.
Hmm. And this technology isn't new, but it was this year that Google said, "Okay, we're doing this," and other places really put a lot more public facing things behind it. There's a company called Yubico that makes YubiKeys, and they've been around for a while. And they're just something you plug in and put your thumb on, and that's your details. That's all it needs for authentication. So someone would need your thumb to, uh, get into whatever you want to get them into, or they want to get
Honestly,
into.
getting a human thumb is not that difficult. Does it need to
Yeah,
be viable? Is it
it
okay to
might have to have
preserve
some
it?
warmth there. So,
Okay, so all right,
eh,
so I need to keep it in a little jar of warm water. Like go to Starbucks, get a latte, stick it in that, and then just
yeah.
yeah, all right.
You've seen enough
I
sci-fi
mean,
movies to know how easy those are to get, right?
it's it's interesting because we've had like even like my MacBook has, hey, let me read your fingerprint, and our phone started trying to do the fingerprint, but we've had like the Windows has had the keyboard option and the laptops that had the
Hmm.
little thumbprint reader in them, and they were awful. Let's be honest. They did not work well. They were really easy to bypass, but the kind of that's also it also raised a whole other problem of people stealing your biometric data. So eh. But I'm very glad for like the passkeys now because it's ridiculous. We as human beings are not able to hold 50 different passwords in our heads at once. We always rely on something else. And sadly, that something else is always the target for these vectors of intrusion. And it's kind of like, okay, well, my one password app it basically got breached. So now I have to change everything everywhere. Yikes. Like,
Yeah, and passkeys can be your only level of security or another level of security on things.
mhm.
And if you can use it and you want to go through it, if you're not using two-factor authentication, please use two-factor authentication. It's the easiest thing to set up other than password, uh, to keep yourself secure. And then, you know, we're never getting rid of passwords. I don't think we're still going to have insecure
Definitely
passwords.
not.
It's just too hard to completely get rid of it. But if you can set up a passwordless thing like a Yubico or whatever, or the Google passwordless thing, however they do that, go to that. Use a password manager. Your web browser has a password manager in there that can be long and complicated. And
Yeah. Just make sure that if you're going to do that and you basically, like, I use Google. Google has a password manager. They have improved the functionality of the password manager, and because it is now synced to my Google account, it travels with me. It's on my phone browser, it's on, like, my work machine because I sign in there, it's on any, so it follows me around because that is the number one thing is, "Oh, this is fantastic. Google has given me this impossibly long, complicated password. I'm no longer at my computer, and therefore I'm basically screwed. Like, I'm never gonna remember that." Um, so yeah, the little extra, the little basically letting the password follow you around with your synced account is nice, and putting just one barrier of protection between you and this, because I don't know if anybody else has this. Somebody is constantly trying to break into my Facebook account. Like, I'm getting emails all the time. "Hey, did you try to log into Facebook just now? Because we detected that this is from a place you've never ever connected from. So therefore, was this you?" And I'm like, "No, that wasn't me. Thank you for asking." Um, it's like when you go out of the country, and back in the day, you would have to call your credit card company to tell them that you were going out of the country because otherwise they would deny all of your transactions. Now they don't care. They're just like, "Oh, somebody's spending money. It doesn't matter."
I've gotten a number of emails recently with links to reset my FBIT. Oh yeah, that's
So yeah, it's
for sure.
like, and yeah, that's not, yeah, between the phishing, that's the worst thing is, the when I got an actual email from Facebook, I thought it was phishing, and it wasn't. It was actually from them. But yeah, I work in IT, so I am always on constant alert for, and sometimes it's hilarious because you've seen so many, but every now and then you find one that almost gets you and you're like, "Oh, that's okay. Well, clever. Nice try. Nice try." Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I over the past few months, I got a lot of texts saying we couldn't deliver this package to your place. I'm like, nope.
Absolutely. I have found, oddly enough, that email-wise, the Norton, first off, does anyone here still use Norton? Because I don't think anyone does. But the Norton scam is still in effect. An email saying, "Hey, we're gonna charge you $300 to renew your Norton thing." Um, and that's constantly coming into my inbox, and I'm just like, "Nice try." I mean, well played. I don't think anyone's using Norton anymore, but well played. Good for you.
Good for you.
So those are probably going to ramp up now that we're just after Christmas because people are getting devices, and now is the time to fool them. Oh, the Best Buy Geek Squad is another one. Like, I've never even known there to be a Geek Squad, like, annual something, but apparently spammers think there is, or there really is, or whatever. Um, so yeah, those are the biggest scams that we get. Um, at work, I get very different scam emails, but those are actually sent by my company as tests, and I keep trying to explain to them why these don't work because my managers never email me anyway. So the fact that I have an email from my manager is already like, what? They don't they they don't exist to me. This has already got to be a scam because they've never emailed me ever in my life. So no. I was like, well played, I guess, but no. Like, "We really need to talk about your annual report." And I'm like, I'm talking to my boss right now on Slack, and they didn't, this is not them. Sorry." Oh goodness. So yeah, now will be, especially as we, everyone's getting something new tech-wise for Christmas, which um I was actually searching the, hey, upcoming CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. I was looking at articles specifically about what are we expecting from CES in 2024, and that was my tweet earlier about how disappointing, like, the
Yeah,
tech is, because it's just upgrades of stuff we've already got and nobody cares.
yeah,
It's just going to be probably another bigger television, which whatever.
yeah. The only things we can't expect is stuff like Rode coming out with a Rodecaster Duo or Elgato doing another product that changes the game in some way. But
Right.
otherwise, yeah, it's like, I'm kind of disappointed in tech next year.
I mean, I'm hoping that
Yeah.
maybe by the end of the first quarter, they'll be like, "Oh, you thought, you see, you thought we were being quiet, and now here's
No.
what's really going to hit." But right now, the predictions, and again, it could be also we're in a pandemic. Spending is still low because everybody is not
Hmm.
doing stuff. So I'm hoping that maybe, however, we are still in a pandemic. So if like behave accordingly, according to that. I got to go to the CES once, and it was overwhelming. Like the way that PAX is overwhelming, this was overwhelming, but for like tech reporting, it was just ridiculous. Um, but yeah, like even when DC and I were talking about this 2023 list, I was kind of struggling to figure out what did I start using, because for streaming technology, it becomes so innocuous so quickly. The minute something just works, you kind of don't think about when you got it. You only think about it once it stops working. And I was like, did I get my microphone this year or last year? I don't even remember, because it's just always here. So I don't know. But yeah, I would love for there to be a big surprise blowout in 2024 for live streaming, not networks, but like people, and for us to say, "Oh, that's going to change everything." I'm just not confident right now.
Yeah, the one company thing I could see is Rode because they purchased Mackie, and if
Yes.
you know about Mackie audio boards, they are famous throughout the AV industry because they are good quality audio mixers. They don't they don't fail. They're big tank like things that just work. They're smaller versions too. Don't get me wrong, but they're solid. Uh, Having used a number of them over the years, and so seeing what now Rode and the combined Rode Mackie company do, that might be next year. It might be 2025 before we see innovation. But so I have a little spark of hope there that we see more innovation out of at least Rode. Elgato will probably have something, but
Yeah, I mean, and also, I would say, us like, oh, I had the name for like the horse that is this, like, you got to keep your eye on because they're a sleeper hit. Keep an eye on Logitech, because
oh yeah,
they've acquired a few things over the years. They are still trying to position themselves, Logitech for creators. And with some things that are upcoming, they're also moving, like their latest headset was designed not even for streaming gamers. It was designed for, like, you've got your consoles next to your TV, next to your computer. Here's headsets that can flawlessly and seamlessly switch between all three. So they're probably going to start pushing more consumer electronics products. As to whether that will mean anything to streamers is a very different matter, because a lot of us need very different requirements for our things.
hmm
I don't even know, like, even to imagine so the thing that would be new and amazing for the AP, for the actual play, like, space, would again be, and DC's covered these things before, would be a server based multiple streaming thing that you're able to pull into OBS, not local and not reliant on everyone's internet. But if somebody is able to do that, or even if Zoom says, you know what, we're just going to make like this, like a reduced rate for, if you have less than this many hours in a year, we're just going to give you like a $5 a year Zoom. Like, if they ever did that, they would ruin everything.
hmm
Like, Twitch would be like, we're not going to work on stream together anymore because it doesn't matter. Like, that would be amazing. Other than that, just, I think people learning how to separate audio tracks and audio channels, like if they do get something like a Rodecaster, because then when you then take that to do your podcast, you've got separate audio for everyone. You can clip out those filler spaces and those noises and things like that. um, I've seen people do that. I never want to do that because that's too many audio wave files on one screen for me. I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. um, but that would be amazing, and those are the kinds of things that I know that we, in the space that we intersect, we're going to be looking for is, what makes it easier to do this, period. um oh, there are, for sorry, for lock for freezing Zoom windows, there are ways to do that in Zoom. that you just have to have everybody in the call first. But otherwise, there's like I've seen people also. There's one uh Windows add-on. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. Um, but yeah, separate audio. I don't actually even know if a Zoom Pro account lets you have a separate audio source for every person.
I don't know. I would
I don't
love
think
that.
so. Yeah, that would be. Um, so yeah, and honestly, if Zoom ever said, "Hey, we just added this small thing. It's a browser source for all of your Zoom windows." If they ever did that, everybody would just lose their collective minds. um, so yeah, I would love to see something like that come out that in the new year makes it a little easier for it. It removes the barriers to entry for people who want to do those, like they want to do an AP, small, large, etc. And their only options are Video Ninja or Twitch's Stream Together, which aren't awful. They're just not great when you have a lot of people. Sometimes the internet's wibbly. I think about when we did Godplane and one person was very clearly had not great internet and we kind of kept losing them, and it didn't drag everything down. It just all of a sudden, like, that window was a little bit wonky. um, so having that centralized server based multi-streaming solution, and it's 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 wide open for somebody to invent it and say, "Hey, we're over here and we have a really decent amount." Because I mean, most Twitch streams, if it were enough for their subs to pay for it each month, they would absolutely do it, like, in a heartbeat.
Yep. It just takes someone with being able to do it and put up the cost for it and keep it reasonable, and they would win. Uh,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it's like I would talk about them all the time and go, "Why aren't you using this?" Right? It would be as ubiquitous as OBS. It would just be the thing you do if you did actual plays or something with multiple people.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, there's a program not live. You can record it. It just released a thing that allegedly pulling separate audio, but $60 a month. Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. No,
yeah, I know.
that's um, yeah, no, that's really where all of that is like the next step for the marriage of browsers and virtual audio mixers is to, to start being able to separate, like you have 5 people in a stream together window. I need each of their audio to be on a separate track. That's going to be the next marriage of Chrome and Mixline, let's say, for example. Um, or honestly, I guess the thing is, a virtual mixer needs to be able to pull in a URL on its own and then only broadcast the audio from that URL, and then you have your separate people. Again, if anyone's watching this and takes that idea, let me know. Not that I want credit. I'm just going to need that app to happen soon
Yeah.
because that would be amazing. Like,
Yes. Make these things happen for us specifically.
yes. um, but yeah, I think in general, like it's been you can pull back and look at consumer and look at the economy and look at finance, and it's been a lackluster year for technology. Like you have these peaks, but for the most part, it's just a baseline because most companies know the thing people are going to get excited about is the new release of a phone.
Mhm.
They're going to get excited about that. They're not going to get, a very smaller number of people are going to get super excited about home audio or streaming audio. So I don't have a lot of, like, there's nothing that I'm waiting on for someone to finally announce in 2024. And that is a unique feeling that has only happened because of the past 3 to 4 years of, look, we're all just trying to survive.
Mhm.
So I'd love for someone to have something that just blows our faces off in 2024. Nobody's hinting at it yet.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So on that note, uh, hope this talk was useful. Oh, I do want to do one shout out before we go because they spoke up in chat. I want to thank someone, so I'm going to embarrass them. But Lily42, you always retweet stuff and that is spectacular. And thank you for doing that. I know you've been doing it for me and others for I don't know a couple years now, maybe longer. That's spectacular. Thank you for that. I just wanted to make sure you got thanks for that. It's really appreciated by everyone that you do that for. So thank you.
Agreed. Yeah, I also would definitely co-sign that because I already know when I post something that I'm going live or someone's going to say hi in chat. I know that Lily's always going to be there retweeting it, and you have no idea how much that helps because you're essentially pushing our information to your audience, and that's huge. We talk about the algorithm. The only way to break it is by doing unexpected stuff, and that's the unexpected stuff is, oh, I know who your audience is, so sure, I guess they'll see it, but then somebody else picking it up, that's what makes things soar. So yeah, we that's one of the best things you can do for a creator is
Yep.
support and retweet.
So thank you. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap up. So 2024. Yeah,
That's fine, I
tech-wise.
guess. Whatever. It's okay.
Yeah. And generally, we want to be better than this year, but tech-wise,
Prove us wrong, 2024. Prove us wrong.
So thank you all for being here. I'm going to take next week off from Tech Fridays, and I'm going to have a lighter streaming week. And then the following week, I'll be back full force with that, and I will probably go over the shorts thing playing because it's going to be a while. So you're going to buckle down and come on with me for the journey because it'll be a journey. It's not. I don't find it difficult. It's just there's a lot to do for it to work. At least the way I did it. There could be an easier way, and someone come up with the code. And if you do, share the code with me and tell me how you did it, because then I'll use that. But this is how I have it working for now, and it works good. So that will be in a couple weeks at the end of the month. At the end of January, sorry, not at the end of December, but at the end of January, I will have Lady Luck 34 on to talk about various setups, and because she does, separate setups for whatever craft or gaming, and we'll be talking about those. So stay tuned for that. And I would like to thank one Urban Bohemian for being a guest on many of these now and today as well. Thank you for
I don't
coming
know
along
why
on
he
this
invites me
journey.
back. Honestly, it's fine.
Go follow Herb. His thing is right in the title, right below
Yep.
at Urban Bohemian.
Yep.
Just click that.
Follow me there
and
on the internet, and watch me this week. I'll be streaming this weekend. I don't know 100% what I'll be streaming, but I will be on my usual mornings. I didn't really think about the fact that I'm on for Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, and then New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve. But it's like New Year's Eve day, which doesn't really count as a holiday. So
right.
I don't know. I'll be on Saturday and Sunday. That's where you can see me next. How about that?
If I do stream, my next stream will be on Tuesday. I still haven't decided what I want to stream, but I haven't really taken that holiday break yet. So next week is going to kind of be my holiday break. But I'll let everyone know. Just keep watching my Twitter, X feed, whatever you want to call it. Thank you all for all the support throughout the year. I really appreciate it. You can find me Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all those fun places under DC. Just go click DC, !DC in my chat. Sorry, I have to click the command in the
I was gonna say, are you doing it? Okay, I was like,
yeah.
okay.
Go to dclasair.bio.link to find all of my lovely links throughout the year, throughout time, I suppose. As long as I'm here, they'll probably be there, unless it changes.
Ominous. All right, that was a thing,
right? I mean, living a long time. I'm immortal until I'm not. Uh,
Fair. Okay.
so we are going to go on a raid. So please stay tuned for that. Let's see who is on. Herb, anything else you want to?
No, we won't see you around this channel. So I do hope that everybody has a safe and happy new year. I don't really do resolutions. So if you do, I hope that you are setting some achievable goals for yourself and not stressing yourself out about it. But if all you did this year was survive, that is the best accomplishment that anybody can have. So I hope that everybody does have a happy new year, and we'll see you in 2024.
All right. Yeah. Have a happy new year, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for all the support throughout this past year. Hope to have more content, better content in the coming year. So even more and better. Yay. There should be like lights flashing those words around. Even more, even better. 2024.
He's going to do that with StreamerBot. He's totally going to do that now.
I am totally going to do that now with StreamerBot. I'm also going to make an audio file of me saying grappling hook. So
not
if you were
grapple,
here yesterday,
not grapple apple apple beam. I want the grapple apple apple beam sound effect.
Grapple apple
That's what
apple
I
beam.
want.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
But yesterday
Yeah.
I got a grappling hook in Sea of Stars. I'm all about the grappling hook.
And he would not put it down.
I was attacking enemies with it. It was great. So you can look for that to be a sound file, like a channel point reward in the coming year. Happy New Year. You get a sound file. But thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being here for the last Tech Friday of 2023. Yay! And I think we are going to go raid. Let's go raid that D'Angelo, because I haven't had a chance to raid him, and he was in here earlier, so let's do the thing. All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you all for being here. Have a great new year. Please be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll see you all in the next year. And Herb will see you tomorrow. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.